This is a quick start guide for the Blackjack DX recorder. Before you begin, make sure you have the following items to set up the DW Blackjack DX server. Additionally, it is recommended to write down the model number, serial number, and recording license key of the unit before installation, just in case DW support is needed in the future. When looking for a good spot for the server, it is recommended to place the device in an open area that is dry, dust-free, and that has sufficient thermal ventilation. Connect a display monitor to the device. The DW Blackjack DX server supports DVI-D, True HD, and D-Sub video output cable connections. Turn the display monitor on so that the server can detect the monitor when booting up. To interact with the DW Blackjack DX server, be sure to connect a mouse and keyboard to the available USB ports in the rear panel of the unit. Next, power on the unit. Find the power input port located in the rear panel of the product and connect the included power cable to the server. Connect the power cable to a power outlet. For additional surge protection, you can protect your DW Blackjack by including a UPS backup battery. The unit will power on automatically once power has been connected. If it does not automatically start, turn on the device by pressing the power button on the front panel. The power indicator LED will illuminate and the display will begin to show on screen. Allow the Blackjack DX to complete its boot process before proceeding. Note: do not lift or move the Blackjack unit after it has been powered on. Moving the product during operation may damage the internal storage drives. Be sure to shut down the unit first if it must be moved. The Blackjack DX does not have a power over Ethernet built in. To connect cameras to the product, connect an external PoE switch to the Gigabit Ethernet port. You can then power and connect your cameras to the external PoE switch. The maximum number of cameras you can add to the Blackjack DX server varies by model. Refer to the system specifications for more information. While it is not a requirement to use the product, internet access will be necessary for connecting remotely using the DW Spectrum mobile app or from another computer. To provide local network or internet access, connect the router to the remaining Gigabit Ethernet port. Once all network cables have been connected, configure the camera network from the DW Blackjack DX desktop. This process differs depending on if your unit is using a Windows or Linux operating system. Network settings are set to DHCP by default. It is recommended to separate the camera network from the local network by assigning a static IP address to the camera network that differs from your local network scheme. If you are not sure what information to enter, contact your network administrator or security installation company for assistance. If your Blackjack unit is running on Windows, right-click the Internet icon on your taskbar and click Open Internet and Network Settings. Next, click Change Adapter Options to configure the network settings. Right-click on the network card that is connected to the cameras. You can rename the network card as Camera Network to make identification easier, or just select Properties to begin configuring the network card settings. To assign a static address, double-click Internet Protocol version 4. Select Use the following IP address to assign a static IP address for the camera network. To avoid IP conflicts, be sure to assign a different IP scheme than what is being assigned to the local network card by the router. Enter the IP address and subnet mask of the camera network. Do not assign a default gateway, preferred DNS server, or alternate DNS server for the camera network card. Click OK to apply the settings, then close the window to go back to the network connections. It is not a requirement to change the protocol of the network card connecting the router to the DW Blackjack DX from DHCP to a static address. However, it may be required depending on your business network's demands. Please consult with your network administrator as needed. To configure network settings on Linux, open the Settings menu and click Network. You will see two network adapters. Click the gear button for the adapter that is connected to the camera PoE switch. Set the IPv4 method to manual, then assign a static IP address and net mask. Once again, be sure to assign a different IP scheme than what is being assigned to the local network card by the router. Click Apply to save the settings. Note: if you are planning to connect with the Blackjack from off-site using DW Spectrum Mobile or from an off-site computer, you may be required to perform port forwarding on your router to access the server remotely. Contact your network administrator or installer for additional information. After connecting the PoE switch for the camera network to the Blackjack DX, you can configure the IP address of the connected cameras. For your convenience, each Blackjack DX server comes pre-installed with the DW IP Finder application. Launch DW IP Finder to perform a bulk IP assignment for the cameras. In DW IP Finder, enter the camera administrator login. Then click the Login button. If you have just connected new DW Megapix IP cameras, the default login will be admin. However, if you have changed the default password of the cameras as recommended, enter the customized credentials. Select the network card of the camera network, then click the Scan Devices button. Allow DW IP Finder to scan for devices connected to the DW Blackjack DX. DW IP Finder will detect ONVIF Profile S compliant IP cameras that are connected to the external PoE switch. Select the cameras by toggling the checkbox beside each camera, or click the All toggle to select all detected cameras. Click the Bulk IP Assignment button to begin setting up the IP address range. A pop-up window will display for the bulk IP assignment. Enter the start and end IP address of the IP range. The IP addresses of the IP range should match the IP address scheme that is statically assigned to the network card for the camera network. The gateway address should be the IP address of the PoE switch if the cameras are connected through a DHCP smart switch or a secondary router. Otherwise, the gateway can be the earliest IP address in the range. You can click on the ARP table button to see a list of all occupied IP addresses within the network. If there's a conflict with another device that is already assigned to one in the IP addresses that falls under the designated IP address range, DW IP Finder will inform you as so. Enter the camera administrator credentials, then click the Assign button to begin the bulk IP assignment. Allow DW IP Finder to complete the address assignments. You can repeat this process as needed. For more information on setting up your new DW Megapix IP cameras, you can refer to the setup materials for your cameras. Launch the DW Spectrum desktop client to begin setting up your DW Spectrum system. This software comes pre-installed with the product. Notice that ONVIF-compliant IP cameras that have been connected to the built-in PoE switch will automatically be added to the DW Spectrum. To allow your cameras to record to the Spectrum Media Archive, open the System Administration menu and activate your recording license. Additional recording license packs can be purchased from your Digital Watchdog sales representative. After adding the license, right-click on the camera and open the Camera Settings menu. Select the Recording tab and enable the recording toggle. At least one license per camera is needed for recording. Click the Apply button to save the changes. You will know that the camera is recording when a red circle displays beside the device in the resource tree. For more information on setting up and using the DW Spectrum camera management software, please refer to your DW Spectrum Quick Start Guide or user manual. This completes the installation of your new DW Blackjack DX recorder. Until next time, thank you for choosing Digital Watchdog.